every Thursday morning through June 7th. The study takes place in the lecture hall from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and includes a weekly prayer and discussion guided by the Eucharistic Apostles of the Divine Mercy. The Cynical Formation Manual teaches us to gain deeper understanding of the message of the Divine Mercy as encouraged by the teaching of Sacred Scripture, Catechism of the Catholic Church, and the Diary of St. Faustina.
Loretta House in Denton is a pregnancy resource center that serves women dealing with unplanned pregnancies. They provide free pregnancy testing and free ultrasounds. Clients receive material goods like diapers, baby items, clothing, parenting classes, and more. Loretta House is an official apostolate of the Diocese of Fort Worth. All services are provided free of charge and remain completely confidential. Many babies are saved and many hearts changed. For more information, visit lorettahouse.org or call 940-380-8191.
Men, it's time. The Men's March to End Abortion and Rally for Personhood is Saturday, June 11th, the weekend before Father's Day, from 12 to 3 p.m. in Tallahassee, Florida. Men gather at 12 p.m. for the march. All women, children, and families join us for the 2 p.m. rally at the Florida State Capitol. You are needed. Every life matters. Join us on June 11th in Tallahassee. For more information, go to themensmarch.com.
Did you know that the Knights of Columbus donated over $175 million to charity and volunteered over 75 million hours last year? They accomplished this with almost 2 million members. And with you joining the Knights of Columbus, we can give you an outlet to get involved. This is merely an opportunity, not an obligation, and your level of involvement will be completely up to you and your family. Join online today at www.knights.net. That's www.knights.net.
Guadalupe Radio Network announces the launch of La Promesa Legacy Circle, formed to recognize and honor our dedicated donors who have made long-term commitments to the network through gifts from their estates. We invite you to join our family and allow us to be a part of your personal legacy. For more information on making a legacy gift for the benefit of the GRN and a guide to charitable estate planning, contact our friends at the Catholic Foundation at 972-661-9792 or info@catholicfoundation.com.
Are you a commercial building owner, facilities manager, or commercial property owner who's having constant water leak issues with your roof? My name is Maury Buford, owner of Buford Roofing and Construction, proud sponsor of the Guadalupe Radio Network, and a member of St. Francis of Assisi Parish in Grapevine. Commercial roof repairs and replacements can be stressful. We can explain the process of resurfacing your roof. We may be reached at 817-329-ROOF or at BufordRoofing.com.
Are you planning on retiring soon and need help deciding on how to financially prepare yourself? The Knights of Columbus and the Christopher Lynn Stark Agency are hosting another Fraternal Benefits Night on June 23rd featuring Ed Slott, CPA. Mr. Slott specializes in retirement planning strategies and opportunities. All are invited to join our free virtual webinar featuring Ed Slott. Ed specializes in the latest retirement planning strategies and opportunities for 2022. For more information and to register for the free webinar, call Stephen at 214-564-3143.
St. Joseph is a patron saint of home and family. At My Mutual Mortgage of Grapevine, we support the Guadalupe Radio Network's mission of honoring and supporting home and family as longtime sponsors of KATH 910 AM.
We're Bob and Norma Duane, owners of My Mutual Mortgage of Grapevine. We would be honored to speak with you about all your mortgage needs. We can be reached at 817-527-3166. That's 817-527-3166. We are an Eagle Housing Lender, NMLS 265303.
We are just days away from the Guadalupe Radio Network's Summer Share-a-thon with the theme of Eucharistic Revival. From Tuesday, June 7th until Friday, June 10th, you can call in 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and donate to keep your local Catholic radio station on the air. With the culture growing further and further away from Christianity, resources like the GRN are vital to keep the Catholic community strong. Please pray and consider pledging by calling in at 1-800-476-3311, beginning at 7.
Welcome to Back to the Father, a show about the journey of life focused on our final end, which is God Himself, our loving Father. And now, here's your host, Dave Palmer.
And hi, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Back to the Father. It's a show based on the teachings of St. Thomas Aquinas in his Summa Theologica. And we are glad that you are with us. We broadcast only on the social media platforms of the Guadalupe Radio Network. They still haven't put us on the radio. At one time, we were on the radio, but we are not on the radio now. But it's good to be able to see us and see behind the scenes. And we like your feedback during the program. We have a very interesting topic on the show today, as we have now entered into the month of June. And to much of the popular culture, this is what they call Pride Month. And so we are kind of provocatively talking about what would St. Thomas Aquinas think of Pride Month, as it is commonly known in the culture. You see the rainbows and the flags and the parades all over the place celebrating basically the LGBT community and lifestyle. And to some people, it's great, and corporations are on board and this and that. To a lot of people, it's pretty annoying. And June has become kind of a strange month for a lot of us, including myself. So wanted to see what would St. Thomas Aquinas say about Pride Month if he lived in 2022. And be sure to comment and give us your feedback, your questions on any of the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. I want to introduce the wonderful cast of characters that we have in the program, and a new face today as well. Of course, we start off with Sissel Anderson. A great place to start. How are you, Sissel?
I'm doing pretty well, Dave. I like when you talk about how we're not on the air like we were at one time. It sounds like we did something terrible and got kicked off or something.
Those glorious days.
Yeah. I don't even know why I need to mention that we're not on the air. I mean, because it's kind of like, there's they don't have to like...
It's not like the people on the radio are like, oh, yeah, he's not on the air.
Like, say all the things I'm not. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an astronaut. Let's just say what we are. We are on the social media platforms. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
A nice hat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a tiny hat.
Yeah,
kind of feel like it's a funeral hat, but it's okay.
Yeah. Kind of Jackie O-ish.
Yes,
would
definitely.
You say?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
cute. Any reason in particular you wrote that one?
It was this or the chicken hat.
The rainbow one?
Oh, the chicken hat.
No, rainbow. No, I basically was looking at the hats in my office, and I was like, okay, I've worn this one last week, this one the week before that. I have the chicken hat or this hat. So I went with this one. You're welcome.
Tough decision.
You're welcome. I didn't put on the chicken hat.
Yeah. The chicken hat has only made its way one time.
It has one time, yeah.
All right.
It's a one-trick pony.
Yeah, that's right. And we also have Jonathan von Weber-Hansberg, 3 weeks in a row on the program. Good to see you.
Still strong.
Speaking of 3 weeks in a row, we are not going to be on for the next 2 weeks, because next week
breaking
is
my record.
You can still come and hang around and do a show if you'd like.
Oh no, don't give him that power.
Yes.
But next week is a share-a-thon. I'm looking at the
He's kind of, they're in darkness a little bit over there.
And I am really big. they look like they're my little pet mice or something, don't they?
Yeah, well, you have to have two people in the frame.
They're dark. I'm large and in charge, and then Sissel is kind of...
I'm normal.
Yeah, you're kind of like the third little bear, or what was the one that just everything was just right?
Goldilocks. No, I'm the mom. Wait, so you're too big, they're too small. I'm just right.
Yeah, right. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, how you doing? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. I'm very tired today.
Oh, yeah. Why is that?
Oh, I took a new job working at a pizza place, and it has very long and late hours.
Oh, okay.
So,
like how late? Midnight?
Close to midnight, yeah. Tonight it's going to be midnight.
Okay. It's going to... All right. Well, what do you deliver pizzas, or what do you do?
No, I just make them frantically for 7 hours at a time, and then leave and have a heart attack.
Do you do the little spinny thing?
I do, yeah. I learned how to toss it up and spin it.
How many have you dropped?
Wow.
None. But I did make a really bad one by accident where it had almost no cheese, a ton of garlic, and pineapples. I misread the ticket.
Has your finger ever gone through it?
Oh, yeah, several times.
Like that poop? Like, do you have to throw it away when that happens?
No, you can just patch it back together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So I've always thought that fun. Interesting. Did it take a long time to learn how to do that?
Like 2 hours of frantic pizza making.
Why is everything so frantic? Why can't you just chill and make pizzas?
It's Jonathan, Dave.
because one, it's me, and then two, because we get like 50 orders in at once, and it's just 2 underpaid employees in a hot room trying to make pizzas as fast as they can.
They're really selling us on this pizza place.
I know. Are you at liberty to say the name? Is it like a well-known
It's
place?
a Mr. Jim's.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mr. Jim. I hope your boss isn't watching.
Actually, he listens to 9, 10 a.m. sometimes.
Oh, he does. Well,
thank goodness we're not on the radio.
Did I mention we're not on the radio?
No, he's a really great guy. It's a great work experience, I have to say.
He's Catholic.
No, he's Lutheran.
Oh, okay. Listens to. Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Very
he's a
good.
cool guy.
All right. Well, I hope this show gives you a little time to just kind of chill from the stress of
Pizza
making pizzas
making.
and standing in hot rooms with one other person. And yeah, but at least at least they're busy. They got a lot going on.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay. And next to Jonathan is a new face, and he is none other than William Kirkendall. The R is the R is sounded, but not
non-existent.
The Y sounds like an R.
silent.
Yeah, yeah.
And the R
It's
just is
like
kind
in
of
the
not
in the
existent.
Polish language, a lot of times the W sounds like a V.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Polish?
No.
Oh.
No.
Dutch.
Dutch. Yeah. Not
No,
Polish.
I used to
was
know
like,
a girl
wow,
in high
it didn't
school. Her
sound
name
like
was Kavinya, but it was it was W, like Kavinya, but it was a W.
Mm-hmm.
So in your case, the Y sounds like an R.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So do you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah. So.
It's the worst question to ask anyone, by the way.
I know where to start.
What are you supposed to say? Hi, I was born, I have 7 pounds, 2 ounces.
Let me ask more specific
Yes,
questions, okay? Where are you in school? What grade?
Yeah. So I'm going into junior year.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you're homeschooled?
Correct.
Yeah,
homeschool.
okay,
Yep.
okay.
Yes.
And what would you like to do with your
In life. Mhm.
Yeah, in life. Well, after graduation in like 2 years, I'm hoping perhaps political science or psychology, and possibly screenwriting or broadcasting.
Wow,
maybe.
that's
so,
a lot of options there.
Yeah. So like 4 different things. So I'm kind of unsure, but I think I'm leaning more towards political science or psychology.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's funny. I can feel, like that feeling you had when I said, tell us about yourself. Because yesterday we had this meeting here at the office and everybody was going around and basically talking about themselves because we asked them to kind of introduce themselves for like 10 minutes. And thanks be to God, we didn't have to do it. But I started thinking like,
Beautiful.
I don't even, because I
What do
haven't
you
been-
say?
I haven't been asked that in a long time.
You're just like, I enjoy pasta.
I know. And I was panicking because I was thinking, what if they say, Dave, because I don't have that story. Because I haven't really had to tell in a long time about my life.
You got to make make up a dramatic story and just call it and see if anyone figures out.
I was born in a cave and raised by wolves.
So far we've had said very little about Pride Month, but so St. Thomas, I told you guys, and I never don't do this in like a demeaning way, but I was just going to do some like fun Thomas trivia for William's sake, because we did before we started. I said, what century did Thomas live? And William knocked it out of the park, and he said
13th century.
13th century, right?
Boop, boop.
Okay,
Already doing better than John and I.
All right, so what religious order did he belong to?
Dominicans.
Okay. I told you these would be easy. Okay, yeah, he's Dominican. Did you know that?
I think so,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah, you got to be quick on the draw here, okay?
That was like the only one I knew I was going to get, so I was like, gotta.
Who was his mentor? Like the
gosh.
immediate mentor that he worked with, studied under, fellow Dominican. It wasn't St. Dominic.
You said it like 10 times.
I know. St. Albert the Great.
St. Albert.
Did you get that one? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is easy. Okay, what nationality was he?
Oh, Italian.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Like, oh man, that one's easy. And why was he locked in a castle for a year by his brother?
Because his parents didn't want him to become a Dominican.
No, they didn't want. They wanted
period.
him to become a Benedictine.
Yeah, well, they really didn't. I don't think they really wanted him to become either, but they wanted him Benedictine over Dominican, right?
Well, they wanted him to they wanted him to have a higher position because the Dominicans were mendicant, they were beggars. There was a brand new order. It wasn't very established, and they literally went town to town begging. That's why they were called mendicants. The Franciscans were the same way. So Thomas came from nobility, and so I think they thought that this was a very kind of low low on the totem pole order to join, and so they just didn't think it was a good idea. I don't know if they wanted him to be a priest at all. Probably they wouldn't mind him being a priest. But okay, a couple more. He is the patron saint of what?
Scholars.
Yeah, education.
Education. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, okay, and finally, what are his nicknames?
Oh, the Doctor of Doctors.
Yeah,
the
okay.
The angelic doctor.
Yeah, good.
The Thomist.
The Thomist.
The Thomist.
Yeah, I don't know
Thomist.
if he would have been a Thomist because he was
The Thomist.
the Thomist. Yeah, okay.
He was the tome.
He was the tome of the. He put the T in Thomist.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So pride and humility in light of Pride Month. I don't know. People out there, watching. I don't know. I saw this picture on Twitter today about basically how some people feel where they just kind of want to go about their lives and they're just this LGBT and the flag stuff is all just being pushed down their throat, and a lot of company logos change in June, and I don't know, it's just I think to a lot of people it's kind of annoying. It gets kind of pushed down their throats. I know one person who was working at a fast food restaurant this week, a high school kid. And she was given somebody handed her the little rainbow flag, and I guess the employees were all putting them in their back pocket, and she was like, okay, thanks. I'll just kind of leave it here. But I don't know. I mean, in this job, we don't have any pressure because we're working in Catholic radio. But I think if you work in corporate America or if you're in a lot of jobs, there's some pretty tremendous pressure. To kind of conform to it. So I don't know if anybody has any experience. Hey, we got Adrian watching.
Yes, Adrian, and we have Monica on Facebook too.
Oh, okay.
Watching. She says Happy Friday.
All right. So Adrian said they wanted him to be abbot, which means he'd be a priest. Yeah. So they didn't ever have a problem. Like Monte Cassino was the big like monastery back then, and I think that they would have liked him to have done that. So, all right. So a couple of things before we get into all this. Talk about the Pride Month and all that. Clearly, this is not an attack on people who are, in the LGBT community. Those people are loved by God. They're children of God. He died on the cross. He loves them very much. They're made in His image. Oftentimes, it comes with a lot of pain. I mean, I can only imagine growing up and having, same-sex attraction or, God forbid, not being happy with the gender that you are or wanting to change it. I mean, it's got to come with a lot of pain and a lot of just confusion. And so our hearts go out to these people, and we don't want this show to be any like attack on folks that struggle in that regard. Absolutely. So I'll just say that. So anyways, having said that, here's the next slide I always show is St. Thomas Aquinas. I took out his dates because that was going to be the first question. I didn't want to give anything away.
No.
Born in 1225, died in 1274. So he only lived 49 years.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
That's kind of long for back then, though, isn't it?
I don't
Jonathan
know.
was thinking a completely different route than we were.
Yeah, but
We're all
you
like
mean
this.
you mean that to live for? I don't know.
I thought,
back then, you think 49 years would be a pretty long life?
Yeah, I thought they died
But I
closer
think he
to.
probably would have lived longer. He had that accident that ultimately, right?
They say he was riding a horse and kind of like crashed into it. Adrian might know more about his death, but that's I think it was a brain injury that he was coming back from a council that the Pope had asked him to go because he was talking about, I think, the question about the filioque, about the Holy Spirit descending from the Father and the Son, which the Orthodox, and I don't know if that was the case or not. I think that's what it was. They wanted him to come to talk about some particular theological issue.
All right. So Adrian's saying it's a myth that people died young. The reason people think that is because of the high infant mortality rate.
So the average.
The average was actually.
The average was, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it would be when you're a baby or, not necessarily. So, so he did die on the young side then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now, William, I ask you, I told you I was going to ask you this. Do you have any exposure to Aquinas? Have you read any or picked up the Summa before or had it in class or anything that's kind of hit the screen for you?
Not for me personally. My dad has a BA in philosophy, so he knows, I think, a lot about St. Thomas Aquinas, but I haven't really been exposed too much to him other than I know that he was a saint and a philosopher, a scholar, all that, but I don't know too much in depth about him.
Can I say it? I know what you're going to say, Dave.
Wow. Okay.
I don't even know what I'm going to say.
Well, you're in the right place. As you always say that.
No, actually, what I was going to say, because I actually know his dad. Interestingly, did
Yes.
you know this?
Yeah, they got a history.
Okay, back in the early days of Catholic radio in North Texas, before Guadalupe Radio, there was a group called the St. Francis Xavier Society. Right? It was started by a guy named Stanley Gaines, an African-American gentleman from St. Anthony Church. He's the one that, it was his vision. And he ended up dying, and a guy named Mike Murray took over as president of St. Francis Xavier Society, and I was involved in it. When Mike resigned, it was actually William's father, who I think briefly was the president. I think I have this right. He was the president of St. Francis Xavier Society. So your dad was very important in Catholic radio.
Yeah, that's cool.
Back then. Yeah. Now it all comes full circle. Probably, before you were even born.
Probably, yeah.
Or around that, around that time. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So, anyways, appreciate the comments that are coming through as well. But no, what I was going to say was not that, Jonathan. What I was going to say is that his dad, even though he clearly knows philosophy and all that, doesn't, like me, bore his kids with it around the dinner table. Hey, kids,
Well, he does sometimes. Sometimes he will.
You just weren't paying attention that were you?
Right.
Well, now you can have, hopefully by the end of the show, you can have a conversation with him. Be like, guess what?
Oh, yeah.
I know things.
Oh, yeah.
And your dad's going to be like, oh, you went off to Catholic radio and learned about this, and you didn't learn it from me, huh?
Yes.
Wow. I always, because I teach the Summa to high school kids, and I always tell them, half jokingly in class, I said, hey, tonight at the dinner table, say, Mom and Dad, did you know this about, like Aquinas or some topic of philosophy? I think it'd be kind of fun to do that. All right, but what I was going to say about his age is most people find it really hard to even read the Summa in a lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And I honestly I've never met anybody who's, and I'm not like bragging, but I have read it, the whole thing, but I haven't met a lot of people that have. Aquinas wrote it.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if it's that hard to read it, and you didn't have computers, and he also wrote another Summa, the Summa contra Gentiles, and all the scripture commentary and all the commentary on I don't know how he did it, and still be a priest, still be hearing confessions, saying mass. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. I think there weren't as many distractions. There wasn't like internet and YouTube, and they just
That helps a little bit.
True, yeah.
Yeah, more focus. You ever think about what you could do if there wasn't so many distractions?
I know, yeah.
Or you could utilize, a audiobook version of the Summa and put it on like 4x time, and you can listen to it faster.
There you go.
Probably wouldn't understand it, but you could listen to it much faster.
I discovered that on YouTube where you can speed up the sound. I actually watched some of my own videos like that. I was like, man, I sound better when I'm talking faster.
That's great.
So, all right. So next slide, if you're following along at home, okay, this pretty much defines. Do you see this one with all the rainbows and all that kind of stuff? Mm-hmm. And pretty much defines kind of what this month is kind of like. And I don't know. I guess I don't follow that many people on Twitter. I talk as much as I talk about it, invading our lives. I haven't seen a whole lot.
Actually, in the grand scheme of things, I'd said it's been a little bit more toned down than usual.
Think so?
I don't know if it's just because it's still ramping up or because I was, June 1st came and I was expecting to have more of an onslaught. Or maybe just who I follow and, on Instagram and things like that. But it is funny because, a lot of the companies change their logos, but they won't do it in certain countries. They don't change their logos. Like,
oh, really?
If Nike has
Muslim countries.
If Nike
Russia
is
too.
in a Muslim country, they're not going to change their logo. So like Nike, Iran is not going to be,
Which basically proves that they're only
doing it for money.
Doing it for money. It's not a principle thing. It's not like, well, if this is who we are and, take it or leave it.
Which is really ultimately, so just showing that they don't care about the people, aren't loving, the people. So,
but I wonder how it's become successful, even from a money standpoint here. Clearly, there aren't enough of people that are, believe in the traditional teachings of the Catholic Church, because if 80% of the people did not like all this, they wouldn't do it, right? So they must think at least 51% of the people want it, Yeah. Or at least the power brokers or something like that.
Looks like a lot of comments. Oh, we got some. Got Victor.
Hello.
Victor's on. So Adrian, do you
caught it
want to
live.
read some of the Adrian comments?
Yes, absolutely. He says, St. Thomas on Romans in regards to the sin of Sodom, for if the sins of the flesh are commonly censurable because they lead man to that which is bestial in him, much more so is the sin against nature by which man debases himself lower than even his animal nature.
Yeah. That's a lot of people will say that, hey, sin is sin, and we're all drawn to sin, and it's kind of all the same. A mortal sin's a mortal sin. And maybe from a punishment standpoint, I mean, if you die in a state of mortal sin, it doesn't really matter what that mortal sin was. But I think maybe what Adrian's getting at here is that there is a difference because some sins are unnatural. It's kind of like, I use the example, if I go in the kitchen and eat, 7 pieces of pizza, that's gluttony. But if I were to eat my phone, that's
That's
whole,
just weird.
Right.
Right.
At least eating pizza is natural. It's like fornication. Assuming it's opposite sex, it's natural in the sense that's a natural thing to be drawn to the opposite sex. It still is mortal sin, but something that's unnatural rises to a whole other level.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are some sins that cry to heaven for vengeance.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
this type of thing we're talking about. And then there's some like on the lower level. I mean, they're both still mortal sins, but they're a little bit
More
different in
grievous
the more higher than others.
Yeah, and one of the
before.
things that we're going to get at, that's a great point. One of the things we're going to get at also is how is the sin of pride different than, let's say, the sin of gluttony or even the sin of lust? And it's interesting what Aquinas says about this, but on the next slide, this is a question 162 of the Secunda Secundae of the Summa Theologica. There's a lot of questions in here. This is basically the part of the Summa where he goes through the theological virtues and then the 4 cardinal virtues. Do you know where? And I wonder if any out there or any of y'all know this. Under which which virtue and the opposing vices do you think pride falls under? Like, would it be under justice? Would it be under
I thought it was humility.
Yeah, humility.
But as far as the cardinal virtues, humility is not like which of the 4 cardinal virtues?
So we have temperance, prudence,
justice,
and fortitude.
And prudence.
Me.
Yeah, prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude.
Maybe fortitude?
Okay, because so fortitude would be kind
I'd
of
say
like
temperance.
No, prudence.
Temperance. That's my guess. We're
Any-
all
any
going
guess,
different.
William? Everybody's
No, I agree. I agree with
let's
you.
divide. Let's divide hairs. As much as possible. So here.
Let's see. It actually falls under temperance.
All right.
Okay, so temperance would be like lust and gluttony. Anger falls under temperance. Fortitude would be more like martyrdom. That falls into in patience and that kind of thing. But okay, so here are the questions, the articles that Thomas asks in the question on pride. Okay, whether pride is a sin. Of course, he's going to say yes. Is it a special sin?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what makes it special?
Because it's the root of all sin.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's all sins and all vices stem from pride.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he'd say it's the root of all sin. I think he's going to say it's the beginning of all sin.
Oh, beginning.
Yeah.
Well, I always heard about that. It's sort of like it's the soil in which sin grows, and then humility is the soil in which virtue grows.
Yeah. But it's kind of like foundational.
So Adrian is he had guessed that justice was the cardinal virtue, and so he's questioned. He said pride falls under temperance. He wasn't had not heard of that before.
Actually it does. Yeah, if you look at it, I was kind of surprised as well, but it does fall under temperance. And humility does as well. It's in the same section. Anger, which is one of the irascible passions. Okay, so this is the subject of pride, the irascible faculty. We're not going to cover that one exactly, but the 4 species of pride, according to Gregory, whether pride is a mortal sin, and whether pride is the most grievous of sins.
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
All right, I know. That's
now it's interesting though, because in the Summa, he will say what is the greatest of sins. But here he's saying what's the most grievous. And it's actually a different question.
Oh, and a different answer?
Yeah, different answer. Because the greatest sins are the sins directly opposed to the theological virtues. Right. Which so the disbelief, is opposed to faith.
Mm-hmm.
And then despair is opposed to. So if you like have no thought that there could possibly be a heaven, and that's one of the three greatest sins.
Yeah.
Despair, right?
Yeah.
Because then you fall into a whole lot of other sins. Imagine if you've lost the hope for heaven. Well, then all of a sudden it's like, forget it, man. I'm just going to go do all kinds of other sins, right?
Yeah.
So you knew that those were the greatest sins, yeah.
Yep.
And then hatred of God is the third, is the greatest. But the most grievous would be pride. And why would that be? Do you think?
Well, because it's kind of like you're rejecting God and saying that you don't need Him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the devil's in this.
That's basically, yeah.
You're like exactly right. We could just shut the show down right now.
I actually read an entire
Mic
book about
drop,
humility and
except for
pride.
don't, because they're expensive, so don't actually do that. Just do a little.
Kent would not appreciate the mic drop.
Mic
there.
drop.
All right, so let's go into a few of these and talk about this. And if you have any comments, I see. Oh, Adrian's really active today. Thank you for all the comments.
Victor got temperance right, by the way.
Oh, did he? Okay. All right, Victor. He gets the. Okay, so here the next slide says whether pride is a sin. And it says, of course it is.
Yes.
It says,
Moving
of course
on.
it is. That's all he said.
Yeah, pride, superbia, I guess that's the Latin word, is so called because a man thereby aims higher than he is. Whereby Isidore says a man is said to be proud because he wishes to appear above what he really is. For he who wishes to overstep beyond what he is proud. Now, right reason requires that every man's will should tend to that which is proportionate to him. Therefore, it is evident that pride denotes something opposed to right reason, and this shows it to have the character of sin, because according to Dionysius, the soul's evil is to be opposed to reason. Therefore, it is evident that the pride is a sin. All right? So if you don't understand who you are in relation to other people and God, it's kind of like somebody working at a company and they're really kind of an entry level person, but they
So Jonathan or William are like, I am Dave.
You had to go there.
Or Sissel is like, I am Dave.
Yeah, at this stage of her life, if Sissel was acting like the executive director. I mean, there may come a time when she is the executive director.
Yeah, like next week sometime. But yeah.
Come on, give me at least a month there. I mean, come on.
It's okay to clean out your office.
Can't I at least put in my 2-week notice or something? But no, I mean, like William, he's brand new here. He's come in, twice now to intern. So if he comes in and he's like, all right, everybody, let's get together. We're going to have a meeting. And Dave, I'd like you to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be like, whoa, man.
Yeah.
Tap the brakes there, buddy.
That
would be pride, right? Because but one day you might be the CEO of some big company, and then it would be actually wrong for you not to act like that, because then that would be false humility.
It'd be responsibility.
Exactly.
I think the best explanation or brief definition I've heard of humility, the opposite of pride, I would say, is the God is God and I am not.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
My daughter has that on her.
Yeah, I gave her the sticker. It's a discipleship group thing.
Oh, okay. I know I've seen that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, all right. So, is it a special sin? Okay. Here's the next one, and we talked about this. Why is it special?
Because it is the bed in which all vices grow.
Wow, man! You read a book about this.
Yes.
Did you read it in preparation for this program?
No, I read it like a year ago. It's like one of my favorite books.
Oh, okay.
It's Humility of Heart by Saint some long unpronounceable name. Look it up.
Insert really holy person.
Yeah. So okay, but you liked it.
Yeah, it was a really good one.
Okay. All right. So the sin of pride may be considered in two ways. First, with regard to its proper species, which it has under the aspect of its proper object. Okay. In this way, pride is a special sin because it has a special object, for it is inordinate desire for its own excellence, as stated. Secondly, it may be considered as having a certain influence towards other sins. In this way, it has somewhat of a generic character, inasmuch as all sins may arise from pride, as Jonathan mentioned, I think. First, directly, through other sins being directed to the end of pride, which is one's own excellence, to which may be directed anything that is inordinately desired. Secondly, indirectly and accidentally, as it were, that it, by removing an obstacle, since pride makes a man despise the divine law, which hinders him from sinning. You think about it, how often, I mean, at these pride parades, do you see signs with scripture passages or quotes from scripture or really any reference at all to God? I mean,
all the time.
Vulgarly, probably yes, but not.
No, I see it a lot. People will have signs that are like trying to justify it by taking some really weird, out of context Bible quote.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I've never actually seen that.
People, they do definitely do that from time to time, or
maybe like judge not, or lest you be judged.
Yeah,
or
pretty much.
Like
a lot of just don't judge me.
Yeah.
God says so.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. So, is it a mortal sin? Okay, next slide here. Pride is opposed to humility. Now, humility properly regards the subjection of man to God, as stated above. Hence, pride properly regards lack of this subjection insofar as man raises himself above that which is appointed him according to the divine rule or measure. It's interesting because we've talked before about how Aquinas always likes to order things. Like there's the seraphim angel, and then you got the regular angel. There's always a hierarchy. And he will say that inequality is a good thing. Could you imagine if everything in the world was equal? Like we were equal to like a cricket?
Oh yeah.
That'd be rough.
Yeah.
I don't like crickets.
You'd have some pretty smart crickets.
Or a cockroach.
Oh no.
I mean, everybody's talking about equality, and of course, to a certain degree, human beings are equal. But,
absolutely.
But there is not really equality in the world. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's not equality in businesses. Can you imagine if everybody had the same position? I mean, and nobody was in charge of anybody else?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Be a disaster.
We have no interns.
Or militaries?
No interns to go get us water?
No North Texas assistants
to go get us donuts?
To totally humiliate the interns. And, all right. Are we missing any comments?
I just got a couple. First off, we have I think a new listener, first-time listener, Jeff, is joining us, and he says, good afternoon. So good afternoon to you, Jeff. And also, Adrian says, Sissel taking over, can't wait. And I said, yeah, let's go.
It's like a growing movement, isn't it?
I think I was also running for presidency in like a couple of years too. I think that was another
thing. Of the GRN?
No, of America.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Anyhow, and then Victor said, I wouldn't be surprised to see a sign, he's talking about at the Pride parades, that said, love is love and God is love.
Yeah.
It's another common one.
I've seen that one.
But love is not a scripture passage, is it? I mean, it says God is love.
Yeah, God is love. So they're just, it's not quite an equal equation going on there.
Yeah. But because I mean, love is love. That's like saying, apple is apple. I mean, it's obviously love is love. It's like the equal sign, right? But what they mean is all love is equal, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not true. I mean, because I love my kid differently than I love my wife, right? I love, so the love is not the same, anyways. All right. Anything else from? Again, a pretty good number of comments.
Yeah, we are.
Today, so thank you for that.
He apparently, Adrian said, I can run for president. He's going to be king. I'm sorry. Actually, on second thought, I'll run for queen. You can run for president.
You're running for queen.
Running for queen.
How does one become a queen? Do I need to go find a king to marry?
That's like Father James, who came in today, said about that T-shirt that said "Vote monarchy."
Yeah, vote monarchy.
Yeah, that's very funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's very ironic.
It is. Good.
Kind of. Yeah.
We actually have 8 people watching on YouTube, Dave, on the GRN YouTube. So welcome everybody.
Yeah. Wow. That's.
I hope we don't scare you away.
We lost our principal.
Yes,
viewer,
our top student.
His top student. He graduated.
He did graduate. He's graduated to a job.
Wait, don't we have to send him a certificate or something? You were saying a long time ago that we'd send people certificates once they graduate.
If they watch like 4 episodes in a row or something like that.
Oh, not even Jonathan qualifies for that.
She wants my job, and
it's because I'm part of the show.
You see how she's kind of leaving you alone, William? Yeah, you're getting.
Don't worry, you'll get there. Don't worry. Whenever Jonathan's not here.
Yeah, you're just getting
there.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. He's supposed to be the bottom of the totem pole.
He's supposed to be in the hot seat. That's true.
No, I'm intern first class today. Okay.
Kind of like first seat, or what do they call it in the band? If you're like first clarinet or second.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's first chair.
But you have to actually be smarter than him. I mean, so if you can prove yourself to...
True.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know.
We should have an intern knowledge off or something like that.
A knowledge rap battle.
Bringing it back in here. Adrian also reminded everyone to make sure you like the video on YouTube, which is a good thing. I don't remember exactly, but it does good things for the algorithm. It makes us show up more. So please like the video if you're watching and enjoying it.
And subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right. So, so going back here to this text, it says, It is written, the beginning of the pride of man is the fall off from God, because, to wit, the root of pride is found to consist in man not being in some way subject to God and his rule. Now it is evident that not to be subject to God of its very nature is a mortal sin, for this consists in turning away from God. And subsequently, pride is, of its genus, a mortal sin. Nevertheless, just as in other sins which are mortal by their genus, like fornication and adultery, there are certain motions that are venial by reason of their imperfection, through forestalling the judgment of reason and being without its consent. So too, in the matter of pride, it happens that certain motions of pride are venial sins when reason does not consent to them. Okay, so difference between venial sin and mortal sin. Okay, so you might have like a little bit of pride, you know, but like if I thought that I was better than you guys, which, you know, sometimes in my private thoughts I do think that. I'm being honest. No, I'm kidding. but not to the point of like rejecting God. So
it could be like everyone draws a picture and you're like, I think my stick figure's a little bit better than your stick figure, but that wouldn't necessarily constitute as a mortal sin.
Yeah, right. Because you're not like denying subjection to God. You're just thinking on a human level. Well, you know, I'm kind of it. You know.
I have a quick question. This is something I've wondered about. So, what about? Because I know there are other kinds of prides. So, as you know, judging by my shirt, I really like Texas a lot.
Oh.
And I am legitimately concerned that it is the best place in the world and that it is objectively better than other places like, say, California. Now, I have a friend who says that is prideful and sinful, but I don't think it is.
I would agree.
Because it's the truth.
Because you're not rejecting God.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if you were to say, I love Texas, it's the greatest state that God has ever allowed to exist, and you're seeing it in light of your belief in God, which raises a question. I mean, does everybody at a pride parade say, I reject God because I embrace, you know, and celebrate this, you know, this sin?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so you know what I mean? Well, I'm sorry, William.
No, it's okay. Some people may not know any better. Like, I'd say probably a good majority probably don't know what they're doing is really sinful, so it's kind of just ignorance more than just deliberately participating.
Excuse me, we have exciting news. We have a friend from Ireland watching right now.
Is that right?
Ireland.
And
is it my mother-in-law?
I don't think so. Determined to be Catholic. I think it's DeCrevy. Determined to be Catholic. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that.
Was this the one who was on Catholic Drive Time?
Yeah, I think so.
Adrian can tell us if he's still here. It's this thing when you...
By the way, Adrian says, I don't think I'm better than y'all. I know it. Someone needs to go to confession. Sad.
Yeah, so I mean, if Adrian really thought that he was like better than us, you know, I don't... Would that be a mortal sin? I mean, but if he said like, I'm not going to go to mass because even though God wants me to, and that I think that's mortal sin because you're rejecting God while you're. So I think, you know, to William's point, some of the people at the Pride event may, through invincible ignorance, not be sinning mortally, or even in actual sin if they don't know it's a sin, but they should, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm sorry.
So what I was gonna say is that I actually wondered about the I know I'm better than you. Not that I'm saying that I think I'm better than people, but so humility is truth. That's what I've heard that people say. Humility is truth and pride is a lie. So say that you walk up to someone and they are, you know, like this terrible sinner, like a prostitute or something like that, and they know it's sinful. Now, naturally, you would want to be more feel bad for them because they found themselves in a situation. But couldn't you kind of think that, oh well, I'm not that, so wouldn't that make me better in that sense? And is that prideful?
Wasn't that story in the Bible where the Pharisee was like, "Thank you, God, for that I'm not like this guy." Remember that story?
Yeah.
Where the other one just beat his breast and said,
I was in the corner,
God,
and
have mercy on me."
Yeah.
You know, so I think it kind of sounds a little too much like that.
Yeah.
You know, where if I saw a prostitute, I might say, you know, thanks, you know, there, but for the grace of God, go I. And yeah, I'm not in this particular mortal sin.
Yeah, just more like thank God that you're not.
But from a dignity standpoint, that, you know, man or woman who, depending on their sex, I'm not any better than them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Victor said, what about I'm holier than you? Yeah, that's kind of the same idea, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah, kind of same concept. So, all right. So what's the deal with the Irish person? This was the guy who was on Catholic Drive Time the other day.
Yeah.
Irish person. I'm sorry. I don't. I married an Irish woman. Okay. And
Irish person.
Irish person. So speak.
Oh dear.
Can you you fake an Irish accent?
Fantastic, Dave.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
see,
Actually,
actually,
we might have...
accents?
Oh no,
I think he just unsubscribed.
I can't do an Irish accent. I live with an Irish woman. I mean, can you do accents?
Don't look at me.
That's ridiculous,
I
Dave.
can do them in private company randomly.
Because musical people tend to be able to do accents because they know tone.
His
and
name is
pitch
Robert.
and
Robert, how you doing there, lad?
I apologize,
All
Robert.
you do is say, always have to be Lucky Charms. Oh, they're magically delicious. Okay,
No, I'm like 25% Irish, so I'm allowed to do this.
Yeah, okay. And
jeez.
I'm half Irish, and I've got a 100% Irish wife and 75% Irish
He says he's
children.
laughing with the accents. Well, thank goodness we appreciate your
Okay, now not to get too totally off track.
Yeah.
Can
Really?
you do fine tune like a Scottish accent?
Oh, that's totally right, lad. I can do a Scots accent all day long.
Man, I love it. That's so good. Okay, Australian.
All right, wait, hold on.
You
G'day, mate. Oh,
How
I'm
that
Matt Fred.
Vegemite,
Just
yeah.
Matt Fred. Yeah, just watch a whole bunch of Matt Fred. Okay.
I can do a German accent as well.
Okay, now let's get real. New Zealand. Is there a difference?
That's the same thing.
It is. Okay.
Oh,
man.
I apologize if we have any people from New Zealand.
Yeah.
But any Kiwis watching right now.
I know 2 people in person from Australia and New Zealand, and they sound exactly the same.
Okay.
I
All right.
think they
Let
would
me.
beg to differ, but
Okay. So let's. The last thing we're going to do here is talk about Adam and Eve, and the relationship of pride to their original sin. Right. Okay. So here's a picture of Adam and Eve in the garden. They got all the. Look, they even got a rooster there. Anna Jonathan. Okay, no flashbacks because Jonathan has been chased by roosters before.
He got stuck
traumatized.
in a.
Are you okay? Starting to get those heart palpitations like you're making pizza and stressing out again?
Yes.
Okay, so then the picture, isn't that a cool picture there on the right of them being thrown out of the garden?
Yeah.
And that angel's like, get out of here, that's a really cool picture. And they're like shameful and hiding themselves and all that. Okay, so here's a couple of the questions. Next slide, question 163 of the first man's sin. And it says whether pride was the first man's sin. Do you think it was?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So why could because they ate an apple and they weren't supposed to, why could intemperance or that they weren't supposed to eat that apple, but they did. I mean, could they?
Well, because it wasn't the apple. I mean, the fruit, whatever the fruit was, it wasn't that. It was because the serpent was like, oh, well, if you have this, you will be. God is hiding this from you. You'll become like God. It wasn't like they were like, oh man, that piece of fruit just looks so much better than that piece of fruit. I mean, that it definitely could have been something, but that's not what happened. The serpent wasn't like, look how juicy and delicious this fruit is.
It seems kind of petty. Like that would be the cause of original sin.
Considering they're in a garden full of fruit, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. So was pride the first man's sin? The first man's first sin. Okay, a lot of firsts there. Now, man was so appointed in the state of innocence that there was no rebellion of the flesh against the spirit. That's really interesting, by the way. Wherefore, it was not possible for the first inordinateness in the human appetite to result from his coveting a sensible good, to which the concupiscence of the flesh tends against the order of reason. It remains, therefore, that the first inordinateness of the human appetite resulted from his coveting inordinately some spiritual good. Now, he would not have coveted it inordinately by desiring it according to his measure as established by the divine rule. Hence, it follows that man's first sin consisted in his coveting some spiritual good above his measure, and this pertains to pride. Therefore, it is evident that the first man's sin was pride. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
I had a couple of comments that Adrian first off said that I think positive pride, like that Jonathan's speaking of, is more of rejoicing in the good, like in Ecclesiastes 3:22, which is, so I saw that there's nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his work, for that is his lot.
Mm-hmm. I think not having a healthy sense of pride could actually be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If you said, Dave, you're proud of your kids? Nah.
That could start a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, you're proud of your parents. And
then Victor's bringing up the lust of the eye was one of the sins, wasn't? I think he's talking about in the original sin, which I guess could maybe the fruit was quite attractive.
The lust of the eyes. It's something like 1 John. You know what I'm talking about? The 3 causes of sin are listed. Yeah, gosh. who knows this? Somebody out there.
Somebody
knows this. Adrian, I'm
Gotta
talking to you, buddy.
Bibble.
Somebody knows this. So, all right. Now this last one, I think I said the last one was the last one. So, when you think, and Jonathan always looks ahead. So he's when you think of just an image of humility, like a what do you think of? Like just if you had to put a picture on a PowerPoint presentation of what humility looks like, what would you put?
I nominate William to answer this question.
Yeah, I already have an answer.
Perfect.
I'd have to say for sure it'd be the Annunciation. I mean, when she humbled herself to
beautiful.
be the mother of God. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, interesting, because I'm thinking that's an interesting comment. Because I'm thinking like the mother of God is like, whoa, that's like how do you see that as humble? Because it almost would be in some ways the opposite. Like, man, I'm like the mother of God.
You chose the right person.
That's right. Good call there, Gabriel.
Ooh, Victor said St. Joseph.
So what do you? Tell me why you think that would be humble.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on what like the attitude was. Like, was she wanting to be the mother of God, or was she kind of like almost tempted to be hesitant of it? But I think, yeah, like that's a difficult question. I don't know what the call would be. I guess. I think it really depends.
Because she would have, because I think her disposition would have been very humble, because she probably would have thought, because Sissel saying tongue in cheek, like, hey, you picked the right person.
Right.
But my soul magnifies the Lord, and my soul rejoices in God, my
and
Savior.
The other thing,
so that whole Magnificat was very humble.
Right.
How she responded.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's pretty obvious that she couldn't really have had pride because she was born stainless of sin. So there was no chance she could have been prideful, even if she wanted to be.
Right. Yeah. All right, here's the image I thought of. It's like this guy's reading scripture, and it just cuts to the heart, and you just kind of feel like, man, I'm not worthy. I'm not, that's anyways the picture that I think of when I think of humility, is that it's just like gratefulness, unworthiness, kind of like maybe Our Lady would have felt at the time of the Annunciation. So I find this is interesting. Thomas says, whether humility is a virtue. And he says, for those appetitive movements, which are a kind of impulse towards an object, there is need of a moderating and restraining moral virtue. And I think this is where it comes in, like this whole thing about Pride Month. While for those which are a kind of recoil, there is need on the part of the appetite of a moral virtue to strengthen it and urge it on. Okay, wherefore a twofold virtue is necessary with regard to the difficult good. To temper and restrain the mind, lest it tend to high things immoderately, and this belongs to the virtue of humility, and another to strengthen the mind against despair and urge it on to in the pursuit of great things according to right reason, and this is magnanimity. Okay, so if you're too resistant to do things that you should do, humility basically tempers us when we have a temptation to go too high, or to put ourselves in the place of God, to not see sin for what it is, and I don't know. It is basically seeing ourselves in the proper kind of relationship with God. And like, I think Sissel summed it up pretty well with that sticker. God is God and I'm not.
Yep. Pretty simple.
Yeah. All right.
A couple of comments to catch up on real quick. Adrian did help us with that. He said, lust of the eyes and pride of the life. And then Victor was saying for his image of humility, he said St. Joseph.
Oh, yeah.
Another good one. And then
never spoken scripture. Yeah.
And Adrian said, he's quoting from St. Luke, because he hath regarded the humility of his handmaid in regards to Mary. So, spot on, in other words, William.
All right. Very good. So that pretty much does it. Any final thoughts about...
I have one. I just want to recommend that Humility of Heart book. I'm going to try and pronounce his name so you can try to find it, because there are two different ones.
Okay.
I'm going to butcher it horribly. It's Humility of Heart by Father Cajetan Mary de Bergamo.
What was the name of the book again?
Humility of Heart.
I think I'll just put that in there. My search engine. Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's one of the best books on any sort of theology I've read. To be honest, it's very much a break you down very harshly and then build you back up kind of book.
Wow.
But it's really, really good.
Yeah. I just found it and I'm putting it on our.
You can order it for everybody on the show.
Yeah, with the company card.
All right.
definitely worth it.
Well, now we're going to move into the next phase of the program, and typically Sissel is the one that introduces this. And by the way, thanks for all the comments. It's really good to have so many people actively participating in the program.
Before we move into the first section, can I just I was like, wait.
Hold on for that.
Hold on. I just want to remind everyone who's watching right now that if you aren't already on our email list, to please join it. And I'm going to link that in the comments as well. Every Friday morning, you'll get an email just talking about what our subject is going to be. And just a reminder to tune in at 2 o'clock. So I will link that, and please join.
But don't tune in the next 2 weeks, because we're not going to have a show.
So you also know when we're not going to have a show.
I mean, you can kind of just, block off this hour and just kind of, sit around and say, boy, I wish the show was on, Or you could pick up the Summa, go online and read a couple articles. It's kind of fun.
It is, yeah.
So, all right. So any other...
no, I'm good now.
So we go ahead and transition into the next... All right.
All right. It's that time of the show where we give Dave Summa to think about, and he gives it right back.
Man, that was good.
Thank you. Thank you. I looked into the camera and everything.
Well played, Diane. Thank you. Good timing there. Yeah, we've had some times when the timing wasn't exactly, or Sissel wasn't ready, or Diane fired off a little too soon.
Sissel was laughing and couldn't get her words out.
Yeah. Okay. So, William, this is a time when we do trivia. And I'm guessing you didn't bring trivia with you.
No, don't feel bad. I didn't either.
Basically, our first chair intern failed to tell our second chair intern.
Hey, intern first class. Okay.
Do you know how much you could have totally shown him up and said, "Oh yeah, I actually did bring some trivia questions."
Yeah, Dave would have
so next in next show you'd be sitting there.
Oh really?
Yeah, Jonathan.
You have my job.
That's what we could do. Depending on who has better trivia, we could bounce them back and forth.
Just make us fight.
Yeah. We get him a dunce cap. And then how does the dunce cap relate to St. Thomas Aquinas? Do you remember that?
Oh, didn't they make him wear them?
Did we discuss that on the show?
I remember you talking about that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I was going to say no.
The Franciscan John Scotus, who came up with the formula for the Immaculate Conception. Well, the Franciscans and the Dominicans were always kind of battling each other intellectually back in the Middle Ages, and there was a lot of intellectual disputes, and so this guy Duns Scotus, I guess some people thought they'd make fun of him, and so they made a dunce cap named from him. Well, he's actually he's not a canonized saint yet, but he's actually a pretty bright guy. But if you ever think of a dunce cap, it comes from John Duns Scotus. That's where it comes from. Yeah, Duns, Duns Scotus. All right, now you know. So, Sissel, I guess you and I are the only ones with trivia today.
I guess so.
Yeah, assuming you do have trivia.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You want to go first?
Okay, sure. So I have been working my way through the Ultimate Catholic Trivia book that I found in my home, which has been quite helpful. And today my theme kind of is mostly about the Mass and Holy Days. So it's going to be a lot about names of things in the Mass. So, okay, Jonathan, you have altar served, yes?
Yes.
William, have you altar served?
I have not.
Okay.
You never been altar server?
No.
Interesting. Okay.
So, Jonathan, basically, and you altar served. You altar served.
So old days, man, this would have been like.
Well,
I just for the record, I was an altar server. Yes. Back in the day.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and ask my first question, which is, what is the name for the small white linen towel used by priests to dry their hands after ablution and prior to the consecration?
Yeah. This sounds like one of the questions from Fear and Trembling on Catholic Drive Times. So I bet you Adrian's going to know a lot of these.
Maybe he has the same book.
Yeah, that's probably where they get it. So the little cloth that they use.
I just realized I should probably know how to pronounce some of these things.
Yeah, these are too hard. I want multiple choice or something.
No. I'd have to come up with words that would make sense.
It would be like big complicated name.
You'd actually have to put some effort into this, wouldn't you?
Okay. We have Victor is going in with thinks
corporal.
It's corporal.
Oh wow.
Anyone else have any other?
Now, interesting because corporal would come from the word meaning like body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, would a linen cloth be named after a body? I don't know. I kind of doubt this.
Yeah.
And Adrian says ablutions is pronounced ablutions.
Ablutions. Thank you.
Purificator. Oh, Victor's on fire here.
Good guess.
I think it's
are
called.
either of those right?
No, but he. He's right. The purificator is the white linen cloth used to wipe the chalice after each communicant partakes.
So what's the one that you're talking about?
I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. I just realized very well. But so Adrian, let me know. It's the aspergillum. It's like ASPERGILLUM. Gillum.
It's one word.
Okay, I just want to say that the priest, when I remember I helped in an Easter mass. He was like, okay, so when I use this cloth, this cloth or towel to wash my hands,
I'm sorry,
he never said
that.
like the aspergillum. He's like, yeah, I could
I'm
use
sorry,
the cloth.
I misread that. I read the wrong answer.
Cecil gets an A for preparation, by the way. So imagine if you had
there's a
said
lot
like,
of like,
Father, do you mean
there's a lot of big
aspergillum?
words in a row. My bad, my
Whoa.
bad, my bad. Everyone calm down. This was wrong. So, I know, Adrian, it's wrong.
Just kind of anticipating his
I
comment.
misread it. I misread. I had the one next to it.
Oh, yeah, Victor. He said, I think that word was wrong.
It was. It is I'm also just going to spell this one. Manuterge. So
Minister?
there's no S in that.
Oh, no.
Mangolio?
Yes. And Adrian's like, yes, that what I said was the wand used for sprinkling the holy water.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
all right.
Wow.
This is batting 1,000 over here. It's just, should go back to bed.
You see, you don't even know which ones you're going to ask. You're just randomly picking.
I have
man,
little
you guys
paper
are-
clips, so my paper clips got confused.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, man.
You know what? Okay, fine. This one I think y'all can get, okay?
All right.
This tradition was started during medieval times when the eating of eggs was forbidden during Lenten fasting. What is this modern tradition?
What?
Not eating eggs?
Not eating.
So this tradition, whatever you're going to say, was started during medieval times when the eating of eggs was forbidden during Lenten fasting. What is this modern
the use
tradition?
of eggs for Easter? Because it symbolizes new life, and also it's like, yeah, we can eat eggs again.
Yeah, kind of, but be more specific about what do you mean utilizing eggs? What do you do?
Like use them as decorations.
Oh, coloring eggs?
No, it's not. It says
Finding?
eating of eggs, just eating of the
just
eggs.
eat eggs.
On Easter.
Thank you, Diane.
Okay, one last one.
Okay.
Oh, no. Okay, yes. Okay. I think y'all can get this. Rank the following holy days, beginning with the most important. So feast, memorial, and solemnity.
Memorial.
Feast. No, solemnity is top.
Yeah.
Feast is second, then memorial third.
You are right.
Yeah.
Go, Dave.
Where's the mic? I want to drop it.
Drop it.
All right. Well,
All right.
I tried. Next time I'm going to make sure I can actually read the answers before I get
All right. And what is the highest solemnity of the liturgical calendar?
Easter Sunday.
Very good,
Good
William.
job.
Yes.
Very good.
All right. So mine's a little more straightforward, I guess you could say. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go around the horn, okay, starting with Sissel and then Jonathan and then and Diane, you're going to not be in this one, okay, because there's not that many answers. So you can watch from afar, okay?
And laugh at us as we get it wrong.
Because Diane sometimes will open up her mic and just kind of go with it. Diane knows a lot of these answers. Okay, what we're going to do is the 7 deadly sins. See, because I like to stick with the theme. Okay, so
okay.
You got 5
Fried much?
Underhanded comments.
You got 5 seconds, and if you don't say one, you're eliminated. Okay. So you can say your first one.
Pride.
Okay. So now you got your.
Gluttony.
I'm sorry.
Gluttony.
Okay.
Lust.
Very good.
Sloth.
Very good.
Despair.
Nah. Oh, come on. Okay, so you're eliminated.
Envy.
Oh, no.
Very good.
No, that was what I was going to say.
Okay.
There's one more, right?
No,
Just
2 more. 2 more.
Anger.
Yes. And now back to you for the win.
Covetousness. Covetousness. However you pronounce that.
That'd be basically the same as envy. There's one more that nobody's gotten yet.
Oh.
Envy and covetousness would be the same thing.
Oh,
Okay.
I think I know what it is.
Okay, so right now you've each gotten 3.
Was pride mentioned?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that was the first one mentioned. Let's see if anybody. Okay, there's as soon as I say it, you're gonna say of course.
Can anyone go?
Yeah.
Is it? Do we say greed?
Greed. Yes. Very good. Yes. Greed.
You lose track of it really quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are 7 opposing virtues to the 7 deadly sins. Okay, so now we'll start with William and go around. Okay, these are not maybe as well known, but they basically counter each of these. So go ahead.
So humility.
Humility, very good. That's one of them.
Purity.
Chastity.
Well, chastity.
I'll take chastity. Okay.
Sorry, I was reading the comments. I didn't pay attention to what we were saying. What are we doing?
You were actually doing your
I was doing my job, but I was like trying to catch up with them. I'm sorry. What were you doing?
It's this thing we do at the end of every show called trivia. No, these are the 7 virtues that oppose the 7 vices.
Oh.
And so far, humility and chastity have been named. So what are the other ones? You have 5 seconds.
Hold on.
So you are the reigning champion of, you know the 7 deadly
I'm sorry,
sins
my brain's not into
better
it.
than anybody. So,
I
okay,
think I'm going to have
Diane.
to pass my turn this time because I can't think.
All right, back to William.
Joy.
Oh, that's a good
No.
guess, but
No.
no.
Okay, so if Jonathan gets this, he goes from worst to first.
Oh yeah.
You haven't said anything yet, my dear.
Okay, hold on a minute here now. Okay, let me think now. We think of some sins. Let me think of some.
Yeah, you got to think of the opposites.
Yeah. So you got temperance.
Yes, good. The
I
opposite
wasn't
of
thinking-
gluttony is
I was-
temperance. Okay, so now if anybody wants to jump in and
Let me see if anyone's commenting.
Okay, what would be the opposite of sloth?
So what's the word? I don't know.
Prudence?
No, it's I don't know, like getting work done.
Diligence.
Diligence. Okay, I was like
Diligence,
getting work
okay.
done. What is the
Not being lazy.
Getting work done.
Yeah.
What would be the opposite of wrath or anger?
rather
Meekness?
Yeah, it's a good guess. This one says patience.
patience? Yeah, patience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's really bad that we know all the sins, but not the virtues. Guys. This is really
the
bad.
opposite of greed.
Is contentment
I think
more like
well, it says charity.
charity? Okay.
But I think more like liberality. You know,
Mm.
so if you're liberal with your money, then you pass it out. And then the opposite of envy, they have kindness. So,
Wow,
all
we
right.
could have just gone with kindness, guys. We didn't.
Well, it's right about closing time. I do want to say, William, boy, you just stepped right in, and you know, you're very natural. So thank you for being on the
Absolutely.
program.
Yeah.
It was good to have you on. So thank you. You contributed well, Jonathan. As always, good to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy making those pizzas.
I will. Till midnight.
Till midnight tonight.
Yep. Pray for me.
I'm going to picture you in this little hot room with one other guy.
My pizza cap.
And stressed out.
Yeah.
It's a good visual.
I'm going to show up at that pizza place one day.
And then tomorrow night's prom.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. All right.
Lots of stress. And I'm not going to get home from that until like 1.
Why would prom be stressful?
Well, because it's 4 hours of awkward dancing.
And I told him he just needs to not be awkward and swing dance
If
and
only
make
it were
it
that easy just to not be awkward.
And again, not to get too personal, but you have a girlfriend, right?
Yeah, I do.
So
I
why
mean-
would it be awkward to dance with a girlfriend?
Well, it's because we only dance together during the slow dance kind of time.
That's awkward.
No, that's not as bad. It's just the awkward, like, just doing this for like 4 hours, basically.
Well, I told him just don't do this.
Yes.
But that's what everyone's doing.
Why don't you just sit on the side and talk?
Because then my girlfriend looks at me disapprovingly.
I think I better.
I can't win.
I better close out this show. All right. I hope you have fun. And again, thanks, William.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Diane, Sissel.
Of course.
Fun show. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Absolutely.
We'll see you in 3 weeks. Don't forget about us. Okay, we'll be back. God bless you.
Thanks for joining us for Back to the Father. And don't forget, the glory of God is the human person fully alive. If you have comments about the show, email Dave Palmer at grnonline.com.